BMW's entry-level SUV, the X1, has arrived in India in its latest third-generation avatar. And this time, BMW has kept the X1's variant lineup really simple. There's one petrol variant, that is the S-Drive 18i, available in the xLine trim. And there's one diesel variant, that is the S-Drive 18D, available in the M Sport trim. As far as the prices are concerned, these are the introductory prices. The petrol version starts from rupees 45.9 lakh, whereas the diesel version is priced at rupees 47.9 lakh. So that's about rupees 46 and rupees 48 lakh respectively for the petrol and diesel variants. And as I said, these are the introductory prices. And I'm quite sure at this point you must be thinking that the new third generation X1 has become quite expensive, because if you remember the launch of the previous outgoing version, the X-Line variants were priced at roughly 38 to 39 lakh rupees. So it is a hefty price difference for the third gen version. But for this, the new car gets a lot of standard equipment, a lot of new equipment as well. And it also gets a completely revamped interior. So here's a quick look at the key highlights of the new third generation BMW X1. In terms of styling, the new X1 looks nothing like its predecessor, at least in our opinion. The new upright fascia with the almost square nostrils looks dynamic, to say the least. In profile, the more pronounced wheel arches add a muscular touch to the overall look, and at the back, new wraparound 3D tail lamps and redesigned bumper are a surefire head turner. Especially in its M Sport guise, the new X1 looks pretty much unbeatable in its segment. Now, if you thought the new X1's exterior is supremely appealing, which it really is, then wait till you hop inside the car and experience this all new interior. I mean, taking the center stage as soon as you get inside the car is the biggest change, and that is the addition of this new BMW curved display. Now, this is something that we've already seen very recently on the 3 Series Grand Limousine facelift, but I should mention that BMW claims that this curved display in the X1 is claimed to be the biggest in the segment. However, if you look at the exact dimensions of the screen sizes, in this, the infotainment cluster is 10.25 inches and the infotainment display is 10.7 inches. But if I compare it to the 3 Series, in that the sizes go from 12.3 to 14.9 inches. So compared to the 3 Series, the screen size is relatively smaller, but nonetheless, the curved display's USP is that it looks so clean because of this single housing layout. And apart from that, the dashboard itself has been renewed. You get this really, sleek AC vents on the dashboard now. And the center console now follows a very minimalist design approach. It is headlined by this, really huge and rather convenient vertical phone holder that offers wireless charging and NFC connectivity. And of course, the other key highlight of this interior, according to me at least, is this center console. I mean, this follows a floating design. It has this huge cavity, storage space over here. And another big change is the departure of the conventional BMW stick shifter for BMW's new age automatic gear shifter that does not allow manual shifting. But however, in the M Sport model in which we are sitting, you do get paddle shifters for the manual shift, so that is sorted to some extent. Other than that, you get an all new steering as well. Now, it has this really amazing feel and grip like all BMW steerings, to be honest. But then this, the design of the third spoke at the bottom is really new age and sort of gives it a very robotic feel. And that is what makes this interior really special and really modern in my opinion. And the cabin is also airy. That's because at this point I should mention the third generation X1 is bigger than the outgoing model in terms of all its dimensions, be it the width, be it the length, be it the height, how tall the car is, and even the wheelbase. So even though those changes are in just millimeters, I mean there's millimeters of gain here and there, but then you do get a sense that the car has grown in size because the cabin feels very airy. And I mean, it's a great place to be in. We're sitting in a very hot day in Bangalore today, but still the cabin feels very airy. There's a lot of sunlight coming in, and even the glass area is really huge in the car. And I'm sure you'll get that SUV driving feel as well. when you actually take it out on the road, thanks to this huge glass house. Apart from that, other highlights include this huge panoramic sunroof, and as I said, the dashboard, the screen, the steering is all new, and even the small details like the, for example, the grill on the Harman Kardon sound system and the speakers, that is also been finished in such a nice way that the interior really feels authentic and really nice. And speaking of nice and authentic, check out these seats. I mean, in this car, the color tone followed is black and sort of a light beige. And I mean, it looks simply spectacular. And not to mention, the seats are super supportive. As you can see, they're contoured so nicely over here. And I mean, I simply can't stop raving about this cabin. And even on the practicality and ergonomic front, the cabin scores really well because as you can see, the door is fully open right now, and for someone average heighted like me, for example, I'm 5 feet 8 inches tall, so getting in and out of the car is very simple. So with the ingress and egress sorted, it delivers on that significant component of the SUV that it should be easy to get into and get out of. Now that you've seen the cabin from the front, let's quickly check out the rear seat and the boot space in the third generation X1. Now from the front, we've hopped into the back seat of the new X1, and as I said, sitting in the front, the car has grown in size, and that change can also be felt while you're sitting on the back seat. The car, it definitely feels taller, so you have more headroom, but I'm still not very convinced that 3 people of my size and my frame width can sit conveniently on this rear seat. I still feel the width is, okay for 2 adults plus perhaps 1 kid in the middle. And but what I do really like at the back is that there's this cavity over here below the AC vents, which basically allows a decent amount of space for the person sitting in the middle to put their feet. So I mean, the tunnel is not very intrusive, so that is a very good thing. And another feature highlight at the rear, apart from the 40-20-40 split rear seats, is that the rear seats also can slide forward and rears. For example, you have the lever at the bottom, and simply you can push them further back, you can pull them ahead, like so. You get more adjustability for the rear passengers as well. But it's not all hunky-dory. I do feel there's one fly in the ointment, which I'm going to demonstrate right now. So right now I'm sitting in the back seat, and if I want to get out, as you can see, the door is fully open. This is how much it opens, and if I try to get out, you can see if the front passenger has set his or her seat according to their preference. And if you happen to have a large foot size like me, so I do realize that my foot is getting stuck in getting out, and likewise it sort of bangs in this door plastic. I feel that the door is a bit too thick, so it eats up into this egress space, and this is one thing that I have found a little bit disappointing. That's because you do not expect these kind of small errors when you're paying more than 50 lakhs for a BMW especially. Under the hood as well, the new X1 packs a significant change, and that is in terms of the petrol engine that is on offer now. Earlier, the car used to get a 2-liter 4-cylinder petrol unit, but this time it gets a more efficient, smaller 1.5-liter 3-cylinder unit that has an ARAI claimed fuel economy figure of 16.3 kilometers to the liter. The diesel version of the X1 continues with the same 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo engine, but it is being offered in a lower state of tune, as it now only produces around 147 brake horsepower compared to the outgoing versions near 190 brake horsepower. And its efficiency is rated at a very reasonable 20.4 kilometers to the liter. And both engines now get a single transmission option, and that is a 7-speed TCT automatic. Now, the other aspect of the third generation X1 that I really found appealing, and I thought I must talk about it on this video, is the car's boot. I mean, now that I've opened it, it's a power tailgate, but of course this is a top spec diesel M Sport variant. And apart from the power tailgate, you see the boot cavity itself, it's so wide, and it really makes, storing and putting things inside so convenient. And another thing that I found really appealing is just how deep the boot is. At this point, with the second row seats up, as standard, the car offers around 470 liters of boot space, and It might not sound like much, but once you look at the boot in person, you realize that it's a very spacious boot, and the loading lip is a bit on the lower side, so it might involve some bending, but then it is not a deal breaker in my opinion. And if you talk about the spare, how it is stored, you get a space saver in typical BMW fashion, which is stored right over here, as you can see. And very conveniently, somebody has placed a couple of goodies here just to show that how little space is available apart from the space saver in the lower deck. And as I said, with the seats folded, the boot capacity is at around 470 liters. Of course, the rear bench offers a 40-20-40s seat split that can be folded down completely, and with the seat folded, the second row folded, the capacity goes at around 1500 liters of boot space, so which is quite a lot. And so that's about it, the new X1's boot space. So now that we have covered all the aspects of the new third generation X1, what is our take on it, or rather what is my take on it? Well, to be frank, I do feel that the pricing is quite high for an entry-level product, an entry-level SUV. But then, as I said, the new X1 brings along a lot of new equipment, which is also a part of its standard kit. It's not just the optional extras that it gets. And if I talk about its biggest draw, its biggest USP, I think it has to be the visual appeal of this M Sport version that you see here. Because with this brilliant looking, rear and a very sharp and smart looking front, without overdoing it, BMW has made the X1 a completely new animal. And if you compare it to the previous two generations, I think the car has come a really long way. And I simply feel that, the car will find a lot of takers in India, especially because the X1 nameplate has been one of the best-selling ones for BMW in India. So this was our walk around of the all-new third generation BMW X1. If you feel that we've not been able to cover any important, any significant aspect of the car, please do mention it in the comment section below. But until next time, this is me, Divyank Bansal, signing off. Keep watching the autoX channel and take care.